Hello and welcome to News Central Now. I am Adebola Adedugba. The top stories at this hour. Security operatives arrest Labour Party's National Vice Chairman, C.K. Igara, during a meeting in Abia State. Transmission Company of Nigeria blames Jebba transformer explosion for third national grid collapse in 1 week. Mozambique leading opposition candidate's lawyer gunned down. And details shortly. Let's begin by telling you that men of the Abia State Criminal Investigation Department on Saturday arrested the National Vice Chairman of Labour Party Southeast, C.K. Igara. The Vice Chairman with the Julius Abure-led State Executive were in a meeting in a popular hotel in Abia when some masked security men stormed the location and took him away. News Central's Chinwe Ugele reports that the party supporters resisted arrest initially.
That was how C.K. Igara was taken away over yet to be disclosed offense. He was taken to the state's Criminal Investigation Department at Omwago in Umuahia with no one allowed inside the premises.
Don't know, we have not seen any petition against him. So why should he be arrested in criminal department because he is the zonal chairman of Labour Party in this southeast zone?
The person held on right now in this at this location is the national vice chairman of the party, and also the chairman of the local government election committee. So we want to know why he's being kept at this location, and we have refused to be intimidated.
The police public relations officer in the state, Maureen Chinaka, was yet to confirm the arrest as of the time of filing this report. The caretaker committee's acting party chairman of Julius Abure's faction, Prince Ndubeze, is pointing accusing fingers at Governor Alex Oti.
We've been told by various people in the highly placed positions in Labour Party and in the government of Dr. Lesoti in Abia State that the local government election has been written.
Also, the secretary of the caretaker committee, John Ibojono, says it's sad that the governor who the party supported to win the 2023 election is doing everything possible to destroy the party.
We brought in this government through a democratic process. Everything that happened from the beginning to the end. I remember we marching down to the office, to INEC's office, insisting that the right thing must be done. And that process we want to sustain in this local government election. So anything devoid of that, we will not allow it.
According to them, Labour Party must be on the ballot of the forthcoming local government election, irrespective of what the governor allegedly plans to do from other parties.
The government in power must allow this election to be conducted in free and fair manner.
Same way we brought him in.
Everybody come and participate. Yes. Let all the parties come and participate.
They have, however, vowed to keep vigil outside the state CID premises until C.K. Igara is released.
We will sleep here and more people will join us. And that chaos they are looking for. They will see it until they will explain to us the reason of the police invitation or the arrest.
No one knows what the fate of the Labour Party will be at the local government election in November in the state. In Umuahia for News Central,
So election matters, where the All Progressives Congress APC has cleared all 23 chairmanship and 255 councillorship seats in the local government election conducted by the Kaduna State Independent Electoral Commission. Declaring the result, the chairperson of the commission, Hajara Mohammed, said the election saw 8 political parties participating, with the APC winning 23 chairmanship positions and 255 councillorship positions. The Kaduna State Governor, Ubasani, expressed satisfaction with the peaceful conduct of the elections across the state.
The electoral officers and internal officers have filed their reports, and at the end of the exercise, 23 won chairmanship position and 255 won councillorship position. The 23 local government returning officers and 255 ward returning officers have declared the results in their respective constituency and submitted their results in accordance with the law alongside the electoral officers. By the power vested on the Commission, I hereby wish to confirm the result earlier collected and returned by the returning officers. I'm confirming these results as follows. APC won the 23 local government chairmanship position and the 255 ward councillorship position across the state. Thank you so much for your time.
Opposition parties in Kogi State have called for the arrest and prosecution of the chairman of Kogi State's Independent Electoral Commission, COSIEC, for allegedly allowing sensitive materials to be diverted to the government house. They made their position known when they protested at the COSIEC office in Lokoja ahead of Saturday's local government election. Addressing journalists on behalf of other political parties, the Kogi State Organizing Secretary of the PDP, Abdulkadir Ibrahim, alleged that sensitive materials for some local government were diverted to Kogi State Government House. Similarly, chairmanship candidates for Social Democratic Party, Olama Boro local government, Suleiman Malik Babanawa, discredits the election exercise.
Here is a place where elections are conducted in my ward, Ward 4, Olama Boro Ward 4, Iga. And this is polling unit 006. Maternity, and the electoral officers are not here.
What's the time now?
At about 11:25, 28, 29 a.m. The electoral umpires are not here. The Kogi State Independent Electoral Commission staffs are not here. The electoral materials are not here. No security, no sign of anything that elections are being conducted. We are here. I am here to vote, to cast my vote at the election. I have not been able to exercise my franchise, even as a candidate. And that is the same experience of what is happening in the title of my ward.
Away from that, Abia North Senator Orji Uzo Kalu has reiterated his support for a single 6-year term for president and state governors, saying such an arrangement would reduce the cost of governance and foster rapid development. Kalu noted that the current system of 2 terms of 4 years each is expensive and often detracts elected officials from focusing on governance. The former governor of Abia State also commented on the emoluments of senators, which he said were insufficient to fund their activities. He also advised government to scale down unnecessary expenditures, including aid provided to other countries and regional institutions, noting the current allocation of 14 million naira monthly is excessive. And to unpack this, we're joined by political analyst Henry Olonimoyo. Good evening. Glad to have you join me on the news. Let me kick off straight up by asking what your thoughts are on the 6-year single-term proposal for president as well as governors by Senator Orji Kalu.
Thank you. Good evening, Nigerians. So we are at a stage in our democratic journey as a people where we are now making suggestions on maybe other things that we can try. And then I think this is not the first time this call is coming. And if you remember, in the aftermath of the 2020 presidential election, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar called for a single-term presidency. Peter Obi also called for a single-term presidency too. And I think this is coming from a lot of quarters. It makes a lot of sense for us at this time because, again, you must understand that the people who are proposing for a 6-year single-term are really talking about the wastage and the distraction that is presently being faced by elected officials in the current global time that we have, where you have people, once they are getting into offices, they are now running out of scatter for how they want to get funds to get re-elected. So it makes a lot of sense. Then there can be a bit of, there can be more of political stability, policy continuity when we have a 6-year single term. they can face what they need to do. But again, what we have seen in history is that if you have people of devious character, they will always abuse everything, and still, even if we shift to a 6-year single term, we'll still need to be vigilant to ensure that people of very questionable character do not get into office.
But really, do you think a 6-year term, would impact, governance in Nigeria? Some persons have said it's a matter of mindset or their values and not the number of terms in office.
Yes, thank you. If you see what is happening today, initially one would have thought that the double term that we had was to serve as an encouragement. For instance, if you are a governor, you are elected, and you have served the people well, it's expected that they reward you with another term. It's expected that the option of another term should be a motivational factor for that governor to go and perform in the office. But again, what we are seeing now is that they get into office for some, for maybe the last 10 years, we have people do so well in their first term, and their second term is always underwhelming. But now it becomes so worse that somebody comes into his first term and he's doing nothing much, telling everybody that the project he has started, if they allow him to be elected, he will complete it. And he holds people by that promise, and then that's what happens. But with a single term, if there's no promise of any second term, just get there, carry on with your work for the 6 years, get on with it, and let us see your scorecard. You can't give an excuse that you don't have enough time. 6 years, I think, it makes a lot of sense. Then the perennial organizing of elections, the amount of money that are spent with campaigns, with organizing the remaining elections itself, I think that amount of money also will be saved in the long run if we look at this single term option. Okay,
when you say you're opting or you're supporting the single term option, do you think it has any impact whatsoever on the executive or legislative relationship when it comes to governance?
Yes, thank you. So when you have a situation of a 6-year single term, and that means for me, I think that the legislature should be left alone. For this proposition, I'm still comfortable with it applying to the executive hand. But when it comes to the legislature, we might still need to allow the legislature to be operating as it should, because for us, all we care, it appears that the big problem that we are facing is that people in the executive positions get in and they are completely distracted. Look at the 4-year term. I mean, the first 1 year now is being used to prosecute electoral cases in the tribunal. And by the time they are through with the first 1 year with the electoral tribunal, they are just settling in the second year. By the time they are settling in the second year, they are now being reminded that by the third year, campaigns for elections will come. So basically, you are having just probably 1 year or so left to carry out governance activities. I think that is why we are now getting nothing to write home about from governance at both the state level and the federal level. So it makes a lot of sense. Let's have this 6-year term. Jonathan also mentioned it during his tenure also. We need to have it, and let's see how it works. And I also have the caveat that we should also be thinking of rotational presidency also, so that I can go around all the geopolitical zones.
All right, then, thank you so much for your submissions on the news. Henry Olonimoyo, political analyst, many thanks indeed. We'll take a short break. When we return, President Tinubu returns after 2 weeks in UK, France. Join us again. Thank you for staying tuned. President Bola Tinubu has returned to the country after weeks of annual leave in the United Kingdom and Paris, France. Tinubu arrived at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja in the evening after his working leave. The UK becomes Tinubu's 27th foreign destination since he assumed office about 16 months ago, and his 4th trip to the country. The End Bad Governance movement, a coalition of civil society groups and activists, have declared Sunday, 20th October 2024, as a day to honor the martyr of the collective struggle for liberty in Nigeria. The Lagos chapter of the group announced that activities marking the day will include a memorial procession, speeches, prayers, and a laying of wreaths at Lekki Toll Gate. The group statement, jointly signed by Hassan Soweto, Osugba Blessing, and Adebola Gadeniji, noted that the date marks 4 years since scores of protesters were allegedly massacred at the Lekki Toll Gate during the EndSARS protest, which erupted across the nation in October 2020. The group recalled that the EndSARS protest 4 years ago occurred against the backdrop of decades of widespread police brutality in Nigeria, particularly by the Special Anti-Robbery Squad and other police formations, with young people being the primary victims. The Transmission Company of Nigeria has responded to reports of the national grid's breakdown on Saturday, describing it as temporary grid disturbance. The grid collapsed for the third time this week, early on Saturday morning, leaving many states in total blackout. This marks the 8th grid disturbance in 2024. TNCN's General Manager of Public Affairs, Ndidimba, explained that although the bus section of a current transformer exploded at the 330 kV Jeba transmission substation, power has now been restored. Some residents of Nigeria's federal capital, Abuja, have raised allegations of corruption and mismanagement in the allocation and administration of land within the Abuja Geographic Information Systems. The group, also known as Concerned FCT Residents, have called on the National Assembly and other relevant authorities to investigate reported cases of land racketeering and corruption in the management and administration of FCT lands.
Many properties in Rivers State under the watch of Nelson Wike that was revoked, which are Muslim-owned in Rivers State, was not reinstated back to those Muslims. Or 65% of the total land that were revoked in the FCT for not building were owned by Muslims and were owned by Northerners. And we know so many applications have been written to the FCT ministers, so many phone calls have been made for him to reinstate back those lands to those people. And up to now, the issue has not been made public. Wike should come out and tell Nigerians, was there any public hearing on the issue of lands that were revoked by Nelson Wike and the application made in front of him in his office to reinstate back those lands or put those lands for a public purchase? No.
In the meantime, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has called on investors to invest in Abuja, saying the federal capital presents a conducive atmosphere for businesses to thrive. And this was during the recently concluded Abuja Investment Summit, which showcased the potentials of the federal capital in a bid to woo investors. Our correspondent, Amadine Oyi, tells us more.
Abuja is Nigeria's political and administrative capital. While housing the seat of government, Abuja has been a convergence point for several cultures, the nation's diplomatic seat, and recently, an investment haven for investors.
Abuja is not just the political capital of Nigeria, it's a place of opportunities waiting to be harnessed. Our unique position, strategic location, and growing population create a fertile ground for investment across various sectors.
In a bid to ensure Abuja fulfills its key potentials for citizens and residents alike, the Abuja Investment Company has held the first Abuja Investment Summit to harness the potentials of the federal capital.
Abuja Business and Investment Summit is designed to showcase to our stakeholders and potential investors in Nigeria and worldwide the investment opportunities that are bound in the FCT. It's equally a platform to initiate collaborations to enhance economic growth, cultural exchange, and sustainable development.
This summit is aimed at promoting investment opportunities in FCT, as well as creating a platform for networking among investors from within Nigeria and beyond.
The theme that have been chosen, optimizing market investment through partnership, involves leveraging the strength, resources, and capability of different stakeholders.
The Abuja Investment Summit will be pioneering a new approach to it, where you bring in the investors and the businesses. I am hopeful that this will be, a summit where deals will be closed.
While the minister assured of the FCT administration's commitment to delivering key infrastructures to support businesses, others called for collaboration and partnerships by investors.
We recognize that infrastructure is the backbone of any successful investment. That's why we have prioritized the development of roads, transportation networks, and utilities to ensure seamless connectivity within the territory.
It is important to identify strategic partners that will bring complementary strength, such as expertise, market access, technology, and capital.
I would like to remind participants about the power of building strong partnerships for the achievement of a win-win situation in our business endeavors. Together, we can optimize our investments and drive the impactful change that our organization and country needs for economic prosperity.
The summit hopes to attract investments into Abuja, making it an investment haven. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
The Banu state government has announced the commencement of the 4th phase of its teacher training program aimed at revitalizing education in rural areas affected by insurgency. The Governor Babangana Zulum, represented by the Commissioner for Education, Lawan Wakilbe, presented a check of over 297 million naira to fund the training of 1,181 teachers from 15 local government education authorities, with a program holding in Bama. Our correspondent Umaru Kirawa has details.
This marks the 4th phase of the Borno State government's teacher training initiative, following a competency test in 2021. The initiative is part of the state's broader strategy to address the shortage of teachers, a challenge caused by years of insurgency.
You are going to receive 90,000 naira from the state government, 13,000 monthly, plus the 50,000, making it 140,000. Furthermore, the government has paid for your tuition. Your stay here would be free. The government has paid for your manuals and handouts. Everything will be given to you free. What do we expect from you? Dedication, attendance, and then enhanced knowledge for greater productivity.
I am impressed by the way the Honorable Commissioner, Engineer Lawan Wakilbe, was handling the program and the entire education system in the Borno State. More so ever, recently, the executive governor was honored the friendly governor of education by the NUT National.
As teachers, you must stand to your text. You must go to class, teach as teacher, because teaching is one of the noble professions we have.
The investment aims to improve teaching quality and support the state's post-insurgency recovery efforts, ensuring that children have access to quality education.
We reiterate our willingness to play a role that are expected of us as traditional rulers, such as mobilizing the community to ensure their children embrace education and supporting all government policies and programs.
The era of not coming to work as at when due, the era of absenteeism is no longer acceptable by the Borno State government.
To the best of my knowledge and knowledge of many, this massive intervention, initiatives, and reforms in our educational system was never witnessed in the state before and this support to all policy reforms of this administration.
Sustaining the retraining of teachers, particularly in essential teaching techniques, is key to improving teaching and learning outcomes for sustainable growth. In Bama for News Central, Umaru Kirawa. Director, National Orientation Agency, Plateau State, Keneng Hiworo,
has called for a nationwide sensitization on the national anthem and 7-for-7 National Values Charter. According to her, the initiative represents a pivotal moment for all Nigerians, one that seeks to strengthen the bonds of our national identity, promoting the values that unite us as Nigerians. Youth centrist Chizoba Anyanwe tells us more.
It was at a press briefing that the director of the National Orientation Agency in Plateau State brought to the fore the need for citizens to be further sensitized on the national anthem and the National Value Charter. The director said there is a need for Nigerians to have a rethink by changing their perception about the value systems in the country.
The National Values Charter is not just a set of guidelines, it is a call to action for all Nigerians. It encourages us to reflect on our actions and consider how we can contribute positively to our communities. By aligning our behaviors with these values, we create an environment where everyone can thrive.
For the Nigeria we crave for, citizens are urged to be alive to this charter.
The nationwide sensitization on the national anthem and the National Values Charter is more than an initiative. It is a movement towards a more harmonious and accountable Nigeria. By embracing these values, we not only honor our past, but also pave the way for a brighter future for Plateau State and for Nigeria as a whole.
However, some residents of Plateau who spoke to News Central believe that if the change the country deserves does not come from its leaders, then it may be a mission in futility.
You cannot tell people on a hungry stomach that things will get better with words. When they've not eaten, they cannot access education, there's no proper health care, there's nothing happening in the country. So I feel if the National Orientation Agency will be able to put in words to the president to ensure that, okay, he speeds up whatsoever good plans he has for the country, then we'll be able to see, and it will boost our morals.
The school fees is on the increase. The fuel is on the increase. There's no food. Hunger is actually the order of the day. And how do they expect that you should be patriotic? You are requiring something from me, but you're not giving me. Then I wouldn't be.
We should adhere to those values that to bring us together. But again, our leaders must lead by example. They must display those values, they must display those leadership qualities. By doing that, citizens of this country will key into it.
As these Nigerians have spoken their minds concerning their level of patriotism and the value system obtainable in Nigeria, one would expect that the National Orientation Agency takes back this message to the appropriate quarters for the change that is desired in our nation. In Jos for News Central, Chizoba Anyanwe.
Coming up, Mozambique opposition lawyer gunned down. We have details shortly. Join us again. Thank you for staying with us. The news continues in Southern Africa, where the lawyer for Mozambique's leading opposition candidate, Banu Modlane, who ran for president in October 9 election, was gunned down in Maputo on Saturday. The lawyer, Alvino Diaz, was killed with another candidate, Paulo Guambe, for the Podemos party, backing Modlane. Two gunmen shot up their car while it was immobile on a road in the center of the capital, witnesses said. Podemos head Albino Fokiha confirmed the killings, while the National Lawyers Association expressed deep shock at Diaz's death. A civil society observer group, Mayas Integridade, called the repugnant murderers an act of intimidation, undermining democracy. Police said investigation had been started but did not immediately confirm the identities of the two slain men. The Nigerian doctors in South Africa have embarked on a remarkable initiative that highlights the power of collaboration and compassion in healthcare and address healthcare gaps through a community medical outreach program. This unprecedented partnership aims to provide essential healthcare services to underserved communities in South Africa. By pooling their expertise, Nigerian and South African healthcare professionals are working together to treat various medical conditions, distribute medications, and promote overall health awareness.
We came up with this initiative to come every year to give free medical services to our nationals so that people can have access, even if it's once in a year, to doctors who are properly trained, who are working in South Africa, who understand the terrain, who understand the disease, that is more prevalent in South Africa, to attend to them and ensure that their illnesses are properly diagnosed, give them the required medical treatment, and refer them appropriately where there is a need for that. So it's a yearly event, and this year we decided to do it around October in commemoration of our independence, which is 1st of October every year.
Secretary General of the Palestinian National Initiative, Mustafa Barghouti, says killing Palestinian leaders does not stop the Palestinian struggle for freedom. Barghouti made a statement during a demonstration in Ramallah in support of Gaza and condemning the killing of Hamas chief Yahya Sinwar by Israel. Hamas ally Hezbollah has vowed to intensify attacks on Israel weeks into an all-out war that erupted on September 23, launching on Saturday rocket barrages at Israel's north, where rescuers said one man was killed by shrapnel. The latest attacks comes as Hamas, Hezbollah, and allied Iran-backed groups in the region have vowed to keep fighting after Israeli troops killed the Palestinian movement's leader, Yahya Sinwar, in Gaza more than a year into the war that triggered by Hamas's October 7, 2023 attack.
The message is very clear that the killing of the Palestinian leaders does not stop the Palestinian struggle for freedom. And Sinwar in his death has exposed Israel completely, exposed their lies about him, exposed their lies about the attacks on Gaza. And the Palestinian struggle will continue.
الاحتلال لم يبقي في غزة شجرا ولا حجرا ولا بشرا. آخر مجزرة ارتكبها كان قتل القائد الفلسطيني يحيى سنوار. بنقول للاحتلال انه مشكلته مش مع شخص ولا مع حزب، هذا مشكلته مع شعب يريد الحرية. لا اليوم ولا بكره الاحتلال بيقدر ينهي قضيتنا وشعبنا. الحل هو انهاء الاحتلال وان يعود الحق لاصحابه.
احنا كثير زعلانين وكثير حزينين وكثير مقهورين انه يعني واحد بطل مثل هذا وبنفتخر فيه كمان انه يعني يستشهد بسرعه. بس أنا ما بدي أقول أكثر من هيك، ولكن إنه استشهاده كان فخر إله وفخر إلنا، وبيعطي يعني شعور بإنه شعب أو حركة بيستشهد أمين هالعام، فهي ستنتصر بإذن الله.
After the break, navigating the stock market, a beginner's guide to investing. Details shortly. In business, stock market investing can be intimidating, particularly for novice, but with the correct information, it can be a very effective strategy to increase your wealth. Every beginner investor has to learn certain fundamentals such as how shares are bought and sold, how dividends are paid, and how to monitor the performance of your portfolio. Nasir Agbalaya, business editor, compiled this report to assist newbies on how to start.
Investing in stock market can be a rewarding venture, but for beginners, understanding the basics is essential to making informed decisions. Today, we're breaking down key concepts that every new investor should know when buying and selling shares. So what exactly does it mean to buy and sell shares of a company?
Shares basically are part ownerships, right? When you own shares, you own, you're a part owner to a particular business or company. Buying and selling shares basically involves trading ownership stakes in businesses and companies listed at the stock exchange. We're in Nigeria. So in Nigeria, it's the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
The same way you can just walk in to buy shares from your neighboring store, the same way you just go to buy shares on a company. That easy. The only difference is instead of buying from a neighboring shop, you're buying from an exchange to your stockbroker.
What key factors should be considered before diving into the equity markets?
It is also important that as a beginner, you start with a manageable amount of capital and funds that you cannot afford to lose. Please do not invest your school fees, your children's school fees, or your house rent.
If, for example, I'm someone that wants to buy and sell, so I have to look for shares that are possibly underpriced, or that I think the company will be able to perform better in the coming years, or that I think the nature of their business, I can see the growth trajectory, right? So I can buy and say, okay, maybe in the next 2 years, this company should have increased the share price and I can sell. But if you're a long-term investor that you want to hold that share for like 10 years, 15 years, the type our parents used to do, then you have to look at the business they are doing. Is that business sustainable into the foreseeable future?
How does it work? There is a portal, an independent portal that was created, the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, Nigerian Interbank System, registrars and banks came together to actually develop that portal, and it has progressed over time. So I'm sure most investors would be aware of the formal physical mandate form. You don't have to go through other hassles again.
From the traditional dividend payment model to e-dividend. E-dividend is very simple and straightforward. What it means is once you fill the e-dividend form with your registrar, once the company announces and pays dividend, you receive it alert. You will receive it in your bank as if someone is transferring money to you.
Finally, tackling your stock portfolio's performance is key to making smart investment decisions. What tools are available to help investors stay informed?
Many of the stockbroking outfits, the stockbroking houses, now have apps where you can buy and sell without even sending instruction on the platform.
The moment a company declares dividends and sets a payment date for that, the very payment date you would get your dividends. That's basically the advantage as against having to wait. So in the past, we used to use dividend warrants where we would tear warrants, envelope, and then post it to shareholders' addresses. Now, you get your money real time.
Investing in the stock market can be a journey filled with learning opportunities. With the right knowledge and tools, you can navigate the complexities of shares, dividends, and portfolio management successfully. Stay informed. Stay invested.
Up next is sports news.
In the world of sport, the president of the Nigerian Football Federation, Ibrahim Gusau, has vowed to defend the nation's dignity and safeguard the players after Libya's authorities mistreated Nigeria's senior men's national team, the Super Eagles. The Super Eagles travelled for their 2025 African Cup of Nations Group D qualifier against the Mediterranean Knights and faced inhumane conditions upon arrival on Sunday. Their plane was diverted to Al Abrak Airport, over 200 kilometers from the original destination in Benghazi. Stranded at the airport for more than 20 hours without food or water, the team was isolated and unable to communicate. In response, the Nigerian contingent decided to boycott the match, with Gusau promising to fight this injustice and ensuring players' safety in the future.
After any decision from the disciplinary committee of CAF, we can only go to CAS. And this issue, we are not going to take it lightly. Don't forget, it involves human life. So there's no way we take it lightly. And if we take it lightly, do you think these boys will listen to us again? And then we are telling them that they are not safe. So whatever it takes, whatever we are going to do, we must fight for our rights, and we must fight to protect the dignity of our country.
In a thrilling all-Nigerian final, Muiz Adegoke and Abdulbasit Abdul Fattah emerged as new African champions in the men's double table tennis event, clinching victory in the ITTF African Championships in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The duo triumphed over their compatriots Olajide Omotayo and Kuti Matthew in a nail-biting match that ended with a close 3-2 scoreline, showcasing the depth of talent with Nigerian table tennis. Adegoke and Abdul Fattah's win marks a significant achievement for Nigeria, especially following their earlier setbacks in the other categories. Meanwhile, Egypt's table tennis star Omar Assad reclaimed his ITTF African Senior Championship title in the men's single final with a 4-2 victory over Abdelaziz Youssef from Algeria, marking his return to the top after winning the title in 2021. Assar's triumph highlights its continued dominance in African table tennis. Meanwhile, in the women's singles final, sensational Hannah Goder from Egypt secured back-to-back African senior championship titles as she successfully defended her crown with a thrilling 4-3 win over her compatriot Miriam Al-Hodabi in a 7-game battle. Goder's victory solidifies her status as one of Africa's rising stars in the sport. Both wins underline Egypt's strength in table tennis as they continue to excel on the continental stage. Finally, in the world of sport, Morocco claimed the first victory at the 2024 CAF Beach Soccer AFCON in Egypt, urging Tanzania 4-3 in a thrilling Group A opener in Hurghada. The 8-nation tournament running from October 19 to 26 kicked off with an intense contest where Morocco secured a narrow win to top the group. Group A features tough competition including hosts Egypt, Tanzania and Ghana. This marks Morocco's 6th appearance at the tournament after finishing 3rd in the last 2 editions. The North Africans are aiming to surpass their previous best performance. The victory gives them a strong start as they seek to make a deeper run in the competition. And that's it in the world of sport. I am Onyinyechi Obaro.
And that's all on the news. Let's take a look again at some of the major stories. Security operatives have arrested Labour Party's National Vice Chairman, C.K. Gara, during a meeting in Abia State. Transmission Company of Nigeria has blamed Jebba transformer explosion for 3rd national grid collapse in 1 week. We also told you that Mozambique leading opposition candidate's lawyer has been gunned down. You can watch News Central live on DSTV, channel 422, Star Times, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Adebola Adedugba.